Hello everyone, good evening. I'm sharing my screen and I'm logging into OIC instance from here. So when you look at, when you go into OIC instance phase, if you go into design, we don't have this option in projects, but if you go into design, you would be able to see something called as an events here. So within the integration, if you won't find that option in projects, but if you go into design, you would be able to see that there is an option called events here. So within OIC instance, we can define an event. We can define an event within OIC instance. And after you define an event, from one integration, you can publish that event to OIC messaging channel. And that is what we normally call as a publisher. And from other integrations, we can subscribe to that event. Okay. So within OIC instance, we have an option to define an event in the design screen. And after you define an event from one integration, you can publish it. And from other integrations, you can subscribe to that event. So that what would happen? As soon as the publisher publishes an event, all the subscriber integrations get triggered, and the subscribers are going to pick up the event from this event queue, and they're going to send it to the destinations. Now, when exactly we make use of this event space? So sometimes you might get a requirement like this, which says, so whenever item is updated in ERP Cloud, whenever item is updated in ERP Cloud, whenever item is updated in ERP Cloud, so whenever item is in ERP Cloud, we need to say, pick up those item updates, and we need to send it to multiple destinations. So for example, we need to prepare a CSV file and put it in a FTP location. And we also need to merge those item details to ATP table. And client says, Prasad, please invoke a REST API and send the details to a shipping application. And also we might have to send the data to fourth destination as well. So which means as and when an item is updated in ERP Cloud, or as and when something happens in ERP Cloud, we need to send that update to multiple destinations. We need to send that update to multiple destinations. Okay. So we'll take item update as an example. As and when item is updated, nobody is going to do anything. Everything needs to happen in an automated manner. And that item update, which is done in ERP Cloud, should be sent to 4 destinations or multiple destinations. Like we need to merge it to a database table. We need to send it to SFTP. We need to invoke a REST API and pass it on to other system. And we also send it to a 4th destination as well. So whenever you have such use cases, like an update done in one application should be sent over to multiple destinations. What is the ideal way to handle use cases like this, guys? This is exactly when we would be building a publisher subscriber integrations. This is exactly when we will be building the publisher subscriber integrations. So we would create a publisher service first. And even before this, what is it that we're going to do? We would define an event in OIC. And in that event, we would mention what details of item do we want to capture. What items of event, or what details of event do we want to capture in the event. So we define a structure here, and then we create a publisher service. And in that publisher service, we would use ERP Cloud connection, and we will subscribe to item update business event in ERP Cloud. So we would define an event first in in OIC. And we would mention what details of item we want to capture here. And we will create a publisher integration. And from the publisher in the publisher integration, we use ERP Cloud connection as a trigger. And we would subscribe to item update event so that the item details would be pushed to the OIC channel. The item details would be published to OIC channel. So once you build this publisher service and activate that integration, as and when item is updated in ERP Cloud, this integration gets triggered. And from this integration, we would be publishing item details to the OIC channel. We would be publishing this event. We would be publishing this event to the OIC events queue. And to that particular OIC event, we're going to create subscriber integrations. We're going to create subscriber integrations. So from two subscriber integrations, you can create as many subscriber integrations as you want, and we would be subscribing to that particular event that we are publishing here. And what exactly do we do? From the first subscriber integration, we're going to prepare a CSV file and put it in SFTP as a destination. And from the second subscriber, we are going to invoke ATP connection and we will merge the data into a database table. Okay, so from the first subscriber, we're going to prepare a CSV file, put it in SFTP. From the second subscriber, we will merge the details to a database table, ATP database table. Now, why do we? So this is a realistic use case, guys, like merging the details to a database table in cloud. But preparing a file and putting it in SFTP with one item details is not something that we really do. But the reason I've put this in is I just want to have multiple subscribers at least so that I can show you the behavior of it. But usually from the subscribers, we would be invoking REST APIs or we would be invoking other connections and passing on the details. Very rarely we prepare a file and put it in SFTP, that too with one item details. But since I need one more subscriber, I'm going to use SFTP as a second destination. So merging details to a DB is something that we do quite often, but not FTP. So how do we do this use case? What connections we need for this? We need FTP connection here. We need ATP connection here. We have both of them. We have both. And we need ERP connection to start the publisher integration. So we need to update the connection details there. And from a publisher, we need to publish the event, right? So we need to define an event structure first. We need to define an event structure first. So we need to go to connections and see if we have the connection available here. So we don't have any connections here. So I'm going to create a new connection. Let me log into my Google account, guys. Okay, so this is a login that we have. And for this one, yes. Okay. Why is it throwing authentication failed error? Trying to log into ETAT. It looks like somebody has changed the options that we see here. So you can go into tools and you can go ahead and reset the homepage here. And now we will be able to see all the options here. Now, what's the first thing that we need to do? We have created a connection, ERP connection here. I'm going to save this. And what other connections we need? We need ATP and we need FTP connections, right? So the connections that we created are in UG63 project phase, but we are in a design screen at the moment because within the project, you won't have an option to build event related integrations. So within the projects that are available in OIC, okay, we only have 4 options available within the projects. Okay, so we only have integrations, connections, lookups, and libraries. We don't have events and we don't have agents as well. So if you need event or agent related integration, so this is going to be our next integration. For these 2 integrations, you definitely have to use the design option. You cannot do it within the project. And all the connections that we created here are within this project. So we need those connections here as well. So I'm not going to create another, I'm not going to create the FTP and ATP connections again. So let me just see if we have okay, we don't have FTP connection. I think let me search for UG58. Yeah, we have FTP connection here. And we also have ATP connection as well. We also have ATP connection as well. Let me just check.
It is number 4 from list. Okay.
Yes. Okay, let me just quickly check this. Yeah. And FTP password has changed. So I believe that is already updated in here. Yeah, it is updated. So let's make use of this UG58 FTP and ATP connections. That's fine. So we need to define what's the second thing that we need. We need to define a structure for the event. We need to define an event and mention what exact details of item we want to capture. So you say UG63 item event. Okay, I would just say item update. Item updates. Call it as item update event. And we need to mention a JSON sample here. So here you need to mention what exact fields do you want to capture? What exact fields do you want to capture about an item update? Now, what are the fields that we want to capture? So about an item, if I want to capture these 6 fields. So I want to capture item ID, organization code number, description, status, and primary URL. So these are the 6 fields that we want to capture on an item. So these are the 6 fields that I want to capture on an item. So I'm going to enter this sample JSON structure here. Create. You can go ahead and add as many other fields that you want. Now we need to go to integrations, create an app-driven orchestration first. So the publisher integration that we need to create would be app-driven orchestration. And you say UG63 publish item updates to OIC. And we need to select ERP connection as a trigger. And we want to subscribe to any ERP. Or you can just say receive item updates from ERP cloud. And you can say receive business events raised within ERP. Now this is a first option. The first option we need to use, this would help you to receive any business events raised within ERP cloud. So whether it is item update or whether it is invoice or whether it is journal. So any event that is raised within ERP Cloud, if you want to trigger your integration based on that event occurring in ERP Cloud, you can search for it and subscribe to it. So say, for example, I want to subscribe to item update event. I search for item update, and we can also apply a filter here. So if we don't apply any filter, what would happen? Any item updated in ERP Cloud, this integration would be triggered automatically. Any item updated in ERP Cloud, this integration will be triggered automatically. And if I leave it blank, and if I put in a restriction here, say for example, if I need to capture only the item updates done in master organization, so I can say organization code. I need to get the path of or code, and I need to say MAS, or I need to, if I have to capture only the item updates of the finished goods type. So then I can say item type equal to finished goods. So depending on the requirement, if you don't want to publish all the item updates, but only a subset of them, you can plug in a filter criteria if you want. And if you leave it blank, what would happen? All the items would be any item updated in ERP, this integration will be triggered. Because the moment I activate this integration, it would get subscribed to the item update event. We can check in the event subscriptions link as well. Remember the callback subscription integration that we checked in the event subscriptions? This would also show up there. It's just that it would be subscribing to item update event. And once this is done, so while it is getting connected, let's connect to the ATP and SFTP as well. Now, what exactly do we need to do after we subscribe to item updates here? So what would happen? This integration would be triggered as and when item is updated in ERP Cloud. Okay, now what else do we need to do? So we need to publish that item updates to the OIC channel. So what do I need to do? I need to use a publish event option here. And which event do we need to publish? UG63 event. Finish. Now, whatever details that you have, when we define the structure, right? When we define this event structure, we were mentioning the columns in that. When we define this event structure, we mentioned how many columns did we mention in that JSON file? 6 columns, right? So all the 6 columns are showing up here. So I just have to map the payload. So if you look at the incoming payload to this integration, all the item fields would be available in here. So you just have to map it. You just have to map it. So I just wanted to capture only 6 or 7 fields. So that's why I mentioned only them in a JSON sample file. But if you want to capture other fields, you can do so as well. And we can go ahead and activate the identifier. And so this is like this integration is going to publish that event, and to this to that particular event, we can subscribe to it. Okay, so we can create subscriber integrations by using this particular event style. So when you say event, what would happen? This integration would start when an event is published. So I'm going to create 2 subscriber integrations, and I'm going to select this event that we are publishing from here. So I say starts with an event. I'm going to say publish item updates, or I say send item updates to ATP. UG63 main package. And what do you need to do? You need to mention which event you want to subscribe to. So which event should we pick up?
Custom
UG63.
event.
Yeah. And we need to go ahead and from this particular subscriber, what is it that we need to do? We want to push the details to ATP. So in ATP database, I've created a table called items. So custom table called items. And I want to merge the item details to this particular table. Okay, I want to merge the details to this table. So I say merge item details to ATP. And I say perform an operation on a table, merge operation, admin schema. So after we select a table, we need to import it. Go ahead and finish it. And the item table, so the columns, item columns would be available here. We just have to map it. Now we need to create another subscriber integration. So this is the first subscriber. And this time I'm going to push the item updates to SFTP. So since I just need another destination, I'm going to use SFTP as another destination. I'm going to call it as publish subscribe to OIC folder. And let me write the file to this particular location. I want to write the file to this particular location using FTP. So I say write item updates to SFTP. And you select write file operation and you write the file to this particular location. And when we write a file, I want to mention it as item underscore percentage sequence percentage dot CSV. I want to write a CSV file there. And also when we write a file, I just want to use a sequence as a number there. You can also use date and the timestamp as well if you want. And I want to upload a sample CSV file so that it understands in what format we need to write a file. So we have this sample CSV file. So this is a sample file that we have for item updates, and you have a header row in it, item ID, organization, code number, and so on. And we also have the data rows as well, a sample data row. So I just want to capture only few fields, so 6 fields of the item. So I will upload the sample file. And yes, this file contain item and item, singular and plural label, and it's a comma separated file which has a header row in it. And I'm going to continue that. Finish. I'm just mapping the columns here. So from this subscriber, we are basically generating a CSV file and placing it in SFTP location. And sometimes what happens, guys, if you want, sometimes a client might say, Prasad, when you generate a file, please generate a file with header as well. Because normally when you do this mapping, right, so the file that is going to get generated now would only have this data row, guys. It won't have the header row. And that too, the data row would have the actual item details. So what if you need to place a file? What if you need to place a file with only the data rows or with a header row as well? So what if you need a header row plus this data row? Any guess, guys? How do we do it?
Use stage file.
No, we just have to repeat this.
Repeat. Oh.
And when you repeat it, what do? You can just so you can move this up. So you cannot move the fields around here. So what you can do is you can go in here. Let me just close it and come back. You see there are two records now, right? So what we can do is we can go into this code and we see this item. So this is a first item. So this is a first item and this is a second item. So I can just copy this and I can paste it afterwards so that the position gets changed. The position gets changed. Now you have the mapping here. And for this one, what is the mapping we want to do? We just want that hard coding, right?
Literal. Okay.
Yeah, you just have to say literal here. Okay, just in case you need to generate a file with a header, this is what you need to do. Header plus a data row. Okay, so you would have a header row written and you have a data rows placed afterwards. We go ahead and activate the integrations. Okay, so it says maximum subscription limit has reached. So what I can do is I can go ahead and deactivate some of the subscriber integrations. Okay, so I need to see this one. So somebody created ARA item. I need to see these subscribers. So I need to delete these two subscribers. Delete in the sense deactivate them. It says ARA, right? Okay. So I'm going to deactivate and I'm going to delete the subscription. and I'm going to activate it. And when I deactivate it, I would see an option to delete the subscription. Similarly, I'll go ahead and delete the subscription of a couple of more events so that you guys also have some space. IND item. I'll be able to go ahead and activate it. And how do we test this integration flow, guys? All these three integrations, all I need to do is just log into a Fusion Cloud application. We need to update an item. The moment we update an item, this integration gets triggered. Item details reach OIC channel. So I need to log into a Fusion Cloud application, not as finance implementation user. I need to log in as a user who has access to update an item. So I need to log into an instance, and I need to log into the instance as a user who has access to update an item. Which user has access to update an item, guys? So there's one fictional user called Charles Johnson in Fusion Cloud instance. And this particular user has the required privilege to update an item. So let me log into ET80 instance as Charles Johnson. And all I have to do is update an item. I need to search for item. And update it. Now, when I update an item, why do you think this particular integration would be triggered, guys? Why would this integration be triggered? First of all, because this integration, since I used a business event, since I said receive business event from ERP Cloud, the moment I activated this integration, what would have happened? So it should have, that integration should have subscribed to item update event in ERP Cloud. So if I search for this, so if I try to access the public event subscriptions in ET80 instance, we should be able to see the details here. So you see this integration, this is a publisher integration that we created, and it is subscribed to the item update events, which means as and when you update an item in ERP Cloud, this event would be published. This event would be published. Okay. So we go ahead and now we log into the Fusion Cloud application, and let me go ahead and pick up a specific item. And I'm going to pick a specific item and I'm going to update it. We don't have this item. So I'm going to say UG63 item update. I'm going to save this. So this is going to raise item update event in ERP in this ET80 instance. And since to that particular item update event, this integration in this OIC instance is subscribed. So this integration would be triggered now. So if you go into observability, integrations, you should be able to see the integrations getting triggered here. You should be able to see this integration getting triggered. And the moment this integration publishes that event, UG63 event, since we have two subscribers to that particular event, these two subscribers get triggered at the same time. One of them would deliver details to ATP table, another one would write a file and push it to SFTP. Now, if you go to events, while we are waiting for the integrations to get triggered, if you go to events, you should see three integrations here. And yes, this is a structure that we defined. And yes, there's one publisher for this event. This integration publishes this event, and there are two subscribers for this particular event. So as and when this integration publishes this event, these two subscriber integrations get triggered at the same time. One of them would merge the details to ATP, another one would send the details to SFTP. If you go to monitoring section, wait for a moment here, and in less than a minute's time, you should be able to see the integration getting kicked off here. Now, I'll tell you what is the advantage of using publisher subscriber integration, guys. But is there any other approach that we can use to achieve the same use case? First, let's see this outcome. Did I save the item? Okay, I've saved an item now. Not sure if I've already done it earlier as well. Okay, we'll just wait for a few minutes here. And while we are waiting for that integration to be triggered, ideally it should not take this long, guys, in real-time instances. But since it's a demo instance, I think it's taking a bit of time for event to be raised and to be captured. But we'll just wait for a few minutes. And while we are waiting for this integration to be triggered, what is another alternate way to achieve this use case, guys? Instead of using pre-integrations and instead of using event, can we achieve all of this using one single integration, guys? Anyone? Yes or no?
Callback.
And you don't even need a callback. So I can just say publish item updates to ATP and SFTP. And in just one single app-driven orchestration, I could have achieved this as well, right? Instead of publishing it, what I can do? I can call those two connections here itself, right? The ATP connection followed by ERP connection. Whatever I have done in those two integrations, I can do it here itself.
Yes.
But what's the downside with this?
If any error occurs, then flow might be disrupted.
Correct. If okay, let me add these two notes and then we'll talk about it. So that is one reason or one disadvantage, and there's one more disadvantage as well. So from within the single integration itself, one single integration, I can call those two connections one after the other, and I can go ahead and do the mappings, right? So nobody is going to stop me from doing this. I can say write item details to SFTP. I'll just create a subfolder here called as call it as app driven. You can call it as item sequence file. Upload a sample CSV. Let's see if the integrations are triggered. So you could see that the integrations are triggered here. This is, okay, first let's talk about this one. So this is one way to achieve the use case. So as and when item is updated, this publish the event. And since there are two subscribers, these two subscribers got picked up, got triggered, and they delivered the destination they delivered the item updates to the destination. So which means I didn't do anything. As and when just updated an item in ERP, these three integrations got triggered, and the item details would have been merged to ATP table. So this is one thing that is done. And also we would be able to see a file placed in this particular folder as well. We would be able to see a file placed in this folder as well. And in this particular file again, UJ63, and you were able to see the file here. Now, if you see the file, so you see this is the first time we are generating a file with a header row, and these are the item details. So what's item number? This is item number, and this is the actual updated description. Okay, so the file is also placed here. So whenever some update happens in cloud, if you have to send it to multiple destinations like this is one way to achieve that use case. You can create a publisher and subscriber integrations. What's the benefit of doing it this way, guys? The benefit of doing it this way is, so yes, as soon as the publisher publishes an event, both the subscribers get triggered at the same time, and they would start writing the item updates to the destination at the same time. So this one would start writing details to SFTP, and this one would start writing details to ATP. Okay, so this is one option. And this is one advantage. All the subscribers get triggered at the same time, and they start delivering message to the destinations. And failure of one destination will not impact another one. Now tell me one thing is, if you have two subscribers like this, if ATP is down, will the file still be returned to SFTP, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because these are two separate integrations, right? They've got nothing to do with each other. So if ATP is down, ATP fails. If FTP is down, if FTP fails, but the other one at least would go through. So the failure of one integration will not impact the another one. So these are the two advantages with this approach. But what's the problem if you do it this way? First of all, what is another approach to achieve this use case? I can put everything into a single integration. I can subscribe to a business event, and I can merge details to ATP, and I can also prepare a file and push it in SFTP. What is the downside with this? What is the downside with this? The downside with this is, first of all, it's a sequential delivery of the message. First, the message would be delivered to ATP first, and then it would start writing file to FTP. That is one disadvantage. And what is the second disadvantage? If you don't do proper error handling, did we do fault handling here? We didn't do it, right? If you don't do proper error handling, what would happen? If ATP is down, will the message be delivered to FTP, guys? If we build the integration this way?
No.
Think about it one more time. ATP is down, will the message go to FTP? Yes or no?
If it is handled properly, like error handling
Yeah,
is
but
there, it
no,
may...
this is my integration. No ifs and buts. This is my integration. ATP errored out. Would it go to the second destination?
No.
Obviously no, right? So the moment I asked the question again, everyone got into the. Okay. So what do I need to do to ensure that yes, even if ATP is down, if I want the message to be delivered to SFTP, what do I have to do, guys? I just have to scope it, right? So with proper error handling, you can still ensure that even if one of the destination is down, we can still ensure that message is delivered to other destinations. So I can cut these two and I can paste them within them. So that what would happen? I can also define a fault handler here and I can handle the fault. So that what would happen if ATP is down and if you're sending out a notification will go. And after that, the integration will still proceed further and it would go ahead and write the file to SFTP, yes or no? So with a little bit of fault handling, you can work around that second limitation, but always the delivery would be a sequential. Okay, so this is another way to achieve it, and those are the disadvantages that we have. And when you use publisher subscriber integration styles, did anybody? I mean, is anyone thinking about it, guys? Like, what would happen if one of the subscriber is down? Would the event be retained or would it be lost? Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm going to deactivate this ATP integration subscriber. I'm going to deactivate the ATP subscriber. And I'm not going to delete the subscription. I would just deactivate the integration. I would just deactivate the integration. I would just deactivate the integration. Now, when I deactivate the integration, what would happen? The integration is in configured state. Now, let's say if item is updated in cloud. Okay. I've updated it again. Item updated description. I'm going to save it. Now, what do you think will happen, guys? First of all, this integration gets triggered. It is going to publish event. Okay. And to that event, these two integrations are triggered. To that event, these two integrations are triggered or subscriber to. So the moment publisher publishes an event, that event will be sent to these two subscriber queues. It would be sent to these two subscriber queues. It would be sent to these two subscriber queues. And since this integration is active, since this integration is active, it would send the details to SFTP. But since this integration is not in active status, it would still be waiting in that queue. Okay. So now if you go to monitor section here, so you see, first of all, since there is an active filter, it is not showing the other integration. If I change the status to all here, you would be able to see 3 integrations. So you see this, this publisher has published it. And since this integration is active, it has been triggered. But the integration has also subscribed to that event, guys. But this integration is not in active status. So that's why this is not triggered. But if you go into subscriptions here, what is it that you would notice, guys? Do you see this particular subscriber, since it is in configured state? Yes, since it has been deactivated, there are few events that were published and they would still be retained, guys. The events would be still retained. So the moment I start this integration, would this event be picked up and processed? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So, okay. So the point I'm trying to highlight here is even if the subscriber is down for whatever reason, the moment you bring it up, it's going to get triggered immediately. You see, I'm activating this integration now, right? So the moment you activate this integration, you would notice that that integration would also be triggered. You see, it would be triggered immediately. And it's going to pick up and process that event. You see, that retained event has been picked up and it's processed successfully. So events are durable. Whatever events that are being pushed here, they are durable. So meaning if the subscriber is down, so it's not that we're going to lose. It's not that we're going to lose that event. We're not going to lose that event. It would still be retained, and when you activate the integration, it would be picked up again. Okay, two different ways to achieve the use case. I also explained the pros and cons of each approach. Any questions, guys, from anyone?
Prashant, Sachin here.
Mhm.
When ERP initiate the business event, action which is been performed, like item update, will that have any delay in that, or like it's
Immediate.
just after that?
Immediate. So here we have seen a bit of delay, right? Like after the item is updated, we could see that there is a minute delay between the integration getting triggered, but in real time, you won't see that delay. It would be instant.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys, from anyone? Now, in today's session, yeah, go on.
Sorry, please go on.
Now, in today's session, we have seen how to merge the details to a ATP database, right? Now, what is this? Where is this ATP database sitting in? This is sitting in cloud. This is sitting in cloud. In tomorrow's session, I'm going to show you, I'll be logging in from a different laptop, and I'll be showing you how to merge or how to integrate a SaaS application with on-prem application with the help of a connectivity agent. And we are going to use Oracle database server, Oracle on-prem database as an example here. And I'm going to show you how to merge the item updates done in ERP Cloud to the on-prem Oracle database table. Okay, in tomorrow's session, we're going to cover this particular topic. Yeah, please go on. One of you had a question, right?
Prasad, I have one question. If you go back to that FBDI integration, the exchange rate one, if you can bring your version. So I tried to build it. It worked finally, but the issue which I was facing, correct, is when I try to unzip the file and zip it again, it was doing only the property file. It was not picking up the CSV file. And the issue what I found is when we are reading the file and placing it into that X-rate folder, correct? The temporary folder.
Not reading, downloading.
Downloading, yes.
Yeah.
So I put that into a single quotes, the X-rate. Instead
you
of
don't have to.
when I compared, so when we have to like
Only
because
in,
it was the only issue I found that, and then it was fixed. So how we can decide when?
Only when you do a download operation, you don't need to put codes. Everywhere else, you need codes.
Oh, okay.
The easiest way to do it is don't put codes. It would throw error. Throw error in the sense in the screen itself you get an error. Then you put codes. Okay. Yeah. Only in the case of download, we don't need codes.
Okay.
Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.